Hey, let's do a one-way ANOVA with SPSS and other stuff, as it says here. Right, so here's a data set up, and you can actually probably see this is a couple years ago, but this is actually assignment 2. I may have changed the numbers. I don't know yet. I haven't made up assignment 2. I'm recording this in December. Anyway, it's all set up. It's got 4 levels of A, and we've got 4 subjects in each group. So we have, and I want to know a couple things. There's an effective A. In other words, are the group levels, or at least 2 of the levels of A different, right? And then there's, right, so we're going to set this up, and you see I've set it up in SPSS. So there's our variable view right there, and you can see that I've set up, I've also labeled them. Labeled dependent variable, etc. It's a sensible thing to do. It's sort of what they like, they say best practices is one of those terms you hear. Right. So anyway, you can see what I've done is each subject, I've given a subject number as well. Like, so I've given subject numbers because we have different people. That's just something you should probably get used to doing. It's a good idea. Just make sure you keep it separate, okay? You don't have to do it, but it's not a bad idea. Okay, so you can see that where each number sort of corresponds to each one, right? So you see, as you can see, like A4, for example, is those last 4 rows, right? So you can see it's got level 4, and it's got different the different levels, right? The different values, rather, for the scores of level 4. So let's choose something. Let's compare means, and what we're going to do is a one-way ANOVA, right? So it just comes up. And of course, it comes up on a different monitor, and I have to pull it up from the bottom. And you can see I've pulled this out already. So we got 2 different variables here, dependent and factor, right? So what I've done is I've moved the factor over is the independent variable, and the dependent variable is the one I've called dependent variable, right? So I've just pushed those over there with that arrow button. So we can click OK on that, and then go down to the other monitor and pull up, there it is, and pull up the answer. And you can see, hey, look, there's the analysis of variance, and the significance level is pretty high, and the F value is pretty low. It doesn't look like we have a difference between our groups, does it? Right? Okay. And that's basically, I mean, you know, that's the straightforward part of it. That's the basics. That's how you do an analysis of variance in SPSS. It's not that bad, right? Now let's just move this out of the way a sec here. And what are we going to take a look at here? You can probably tell I do the voiceovers separately. Right. So again, compare means. And in this case, what we're going to do is independent sample groups, right? And we're going to do the part of the assignment that looks at the last 2 groups as a t-test, right? So I've set that up. You should already know how to do a t-test. So here we go. And I've just made groups 3 and 4, right? Because you're only supposed to compare groups 3 and 4. So we hit OK on that. And you can actually see here that I've defined the groups. Group 1 is 3, group 2 is 4. Okay? Right. So we hit go, and hey, look, we have, we scroll down, and we see, don't worry about that F statistic, by the way, that's a different F. We worry about the T's, and you can see as I scroll over a bit here, there we go, that we've got a T here. We got T values here that are both less than 1. So there's no way these are significant. And you can actually see by the significance levels, they're both the same, 0.618, depending on what set of assumptions you use. Right? And, right, so then let's do this now as analysis of variance, right? That's the next part of the question. The question is like, let's do an ANOVA on just those 2 groups, on groups 3 and 4. So how am I going to do that? Well, there's a few ways you can do it. One way you could do it is just actually copy and paste them into a new data file, and that is what I would like to call the lazy way, and it's not bad. Being lazy isn't bad. You work smart, not hard. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's the ones we want, right? We only want to analyze those. There's a few ways you can do this. Now, this is the more sort of, like I said, we could just copy it and paste it into another data set, and that would be perfectly fine, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But what if we want to use the same data set, right? What are we going to do there? Well, let's look. Select cases. That's the answer. And thing comes up, and there it is. And you can see that the independent, we get the different variables. We want to select if certain conditions are met. If a is greater than or equal to 3. And then we hit OK on that shortly. Yeah, if a is greater than or equal to 3, that's when we're going to select the cases. See, it's just a logical operation. We hit that. We OK that, and then look what happens. You see how these get crossed out? They're not actually gone. It's just that they are now the only ones, they're not selected anymore. So you can get rid of that later if you wanted to. And now we're just going to do the same thing we did for part 1, right, of the assignment. So we'll do an analysis of variance, but you can see how it's changed now. You see what it says there? A is greater than 3 because of the filter, right? Okay, good. So we're going to do that, and we're going to hit OK. Eventually, when am I going to hit OK? Anyway, it's only got those. Oh, there it goes. Good stuff. And you can see as we pull it up, there's an ANOVA. And I'm asking you what the relationship is between F and T, and you can figure that out on your own, I hope. You should be able to figure that out by looking at the formulas. That's a hint, everybody. That's a hint. But as you can see here, again, the F also isn't significant. So not only is the T not significant, it's the same thing with the F, and that shouldn't surprise you. Pretty nice, eh? So that's it. And there you go. Enjoy.